Tony Khan has pulled a match from AEW Full Gear. We have an update on an injured Ring of Honor champion. And we've got the latest on Kevin Owens' status for Survivor Series. Stay tuned for the news. We're gonna
I'd say status.
You say status. I would say status. It's it's a potato type situation, which is the American one.
Soccer.
Soccer, that's the one. Well, we're not here to talk about soccer, but we're talking about someone who owns a soccer team. It's Tony Khan, because he's pulled a match from tomorrow night.
It is tomorrow
I get lost
night.
in the days of the week, Tom, but it is tomorrow night, AEW Full Gear. Now, last week on AEW Rampage, it was announced that Ricky Starks was not cleared to compete after he was attacked by Lance Archer. Now, Tony Khan revealed on the press conference, on the media call, we do love a media call.
I do
from
love a Tony Khan media call. It was
sadly not as eventful, this one.
very boring.
But he confirmed that this was a legitimate injury for Starks, and that kind of caused a change to the tournament schedule. The nature of Starks' injury was not disclosed, though. But what will happen with the finals, Tom?
Well, I mean, I know Ethan Page and Ricky Starks have put on a banger. They're both brilliant.
Yep.
Should they both be healthy for Wednesday? Give them the time to do it. I'm gutted for it because I know Ethan Page is somebody who has kind of been on the periphery of AEW for a bit, and I feel like this is like a big chance for him to shine on a major stage. And they will. They'll have the match on Wednesday. There's also a part of me that goes, oh, that's one less match for Full Gear. Oh, that's
just it, isn't it? Like, Full Gear's a stacked card.
Going home early, lads.
So, well, it's still going to be, 6 a.m. our time. But the final's no longer taking place at Full Gear, but the opening round match between Starks and Archer is scheduled for tonight's Rampage, with the winner facing Brian Cage on tomorrow night's semi-finals, the 0 hour, and then the finals will now take place on Wednesday's Dynamite, which I think, as you're rightly saying, sort of Ricky Starks versus Ethan Page, I think is kind of where they're going to go with it.
I feel like that's where we're going.
I think most folk have been assuming it. Sort of that's going to be the destination. Ethan Page and Ricky Starks. Fantastic, a fantastic match right there.
I think so. I think they've got bags of potential there as well.
And as you said, it's a shame it's been taken off Full Gear, but also it's a bit of a relief. Because
the one thing that he does say in the presser, in the media call, Tony, was he describes the show as it'll be a tight wrestling show. He said Saturday is going to end at a reasonable time. Fingers crossed.
Reasonable time.
Define reasonable time. He said Double or Nothing was laid out differently due to the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat NBA playoffs Game 7. The show being on the West Coast as well changes things, but he's adamant that this is going to be a tweet bit of wrestling tomorrow night.
I'm sure he said that before, and then the shows ended up being like 4.5 hours long. So we will keep an eye on that one. But on the media call as well, Tony Khan was speaking about another tournament, because obviously we do like a tournament. I love a tournament. I don't know about you.
We flipping love a tournament in this house.
And we had a tournament in the summer. It was the Owen Hart tournament. Now, I think we've all been thinking, what's kind of gone on with that, because they had the belts made and then they didn't appear on any TV. It looks like they're going to do another Owen Hart tournament in 2023. Tony Khan saying, I'd like to continue my great relationship with Dr. Martha Hart and her family, and basically wanting to continue that. And he went to football with his son.
Yeah, that's
with
it.
Owen's son.
There's still a strong connection with them. I'd like to think if they are going to bring back the Owen Hart Cup, I think have it for a reason. Let the reason be love. Down your pints if you had this time for me to start singing. I think that there needs to be a reason for doing it.
Yep.
It's a great way to honour a phenomenal wrestler who left us way too soon, but let's have a reason behind doing it as well.
I think make it AEW's King of the Ring.
I think that's a great idea.
If the rumours about King of the Ring maybe coming back are true on the WWE side, have it for a title match. Have this for a title match as well. The winner becomes the number one contender at... What's the next pay-per-view after the summer?
All Out,
maybe.
That'd be all right.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Do that. Make that a thing, you cowards. Now, a few times during the media call, CM Punk and the Elite were discussed, and he can't comment on any of that. And that kind of became a bit of a thing with Tony Khan. Whenever you're asking him about CM Punk, he just goes, the shutdown, I can't comment on that. Nick Hausman had a chat with him recently, and And Tony was asked, like, did you know that CM Punk was going to say all that stuff he did at All Out? And Tony went, oh no, I had no idea what he was going to say. And Tony, I think the impression I got from the answer from Tony was he was too busy thinking about what he was going to be asking the next people and wasn't really locking into what CM Punk was saying.
I mean, that's
a worry.
It's a worry, but also at the same time, Punk is a legend of the industry. He's been around a while. You shouldn't have to like monitor everything he's saying. Like, Tony Khan, right enough, he should have been focusing on like what was happening at that point if he wasn't paying attention. But like, Punk should be trusted not to crap on the company and all that sort of thing. And
you think so?
I understand Tony being reserved and being like, I can't comment on any ongoing investigations or anything like that. But it's interesting he can't even comment on Punk's status with the company. Status, whatever you want to say, Tom.
One of those ones.
Status.
He did comment on the in-ring return of Mercedes Martinez, the Ring of Honor Women's Champion. He's been out of action for a long while, and as you can probably tell by now, Martinez is good to go, and it's a welcome return. Although it does add another title in a very busy field for AEW right now.
Far too many belts.
On the subject of Ring of Honor, he says a decision is going to be made about Ring of Honor's direction and TV future after next month's final battle. He was very bullish about Ring of Honor, saying that title matches and their success on pay-per-view this year have been a driving force behind it, and there's more to come next year. I think the return of Mercedes Martinez right now, just in time for that potential announcement in the new year, I think is welcome.
I totally agree. I mean, we've done a podcast ourselves on if Ring of Honor is harming AEW, so somewhere on the channel, go and check that out. But it's interesting in that I think they need to split the brands. I need Ring of Honor away from AEW at the moment.
That was kind of the conclusion that we drew at the end, wasn't it? Like, we've got to break them off.
Yeah, and it's not that it's not that it's bad. Like, Ring of Honor is great. It's just not on AEW. But hopefully we'll get some update on that going into the new year after Final Battle. Another thing from the media call, he was asked about FTR not being on Saturday's Full Gear. Now, I feel like they kind of should be. They're one of the best tag teams in the world and the current Ring of Honor tag team champions. But kind of said, obviously, there's a lot of talented people under contract. Now, I don't know if you know, they're kind of bloated, aren't they? They've got a big old roster.
I've been quite quiet on this issue.
Yep.
I very rarely bring up the fact that like AEW is the overstuffed beef ravioli of the wrestling world right now. Very rarely do I talk on it, but yeah, there's quite a few extra.
I love some overstuffed beef ravioli.
There's a can of Chef Boyardee in the other office.
Oh, amazing!
Fill your boots, my friends.
Well, I would hope that the overstuffed ravioli allows some FTR time soon.
One would hope. One would hope.
But we have we're going to end on an update on Survivor Series, because this is a pay-per-view month. We've had Crown Jewel, we're going into Full Gear, and then next weekend is Survivor Series. We still don't know who the final entrant is in the War Games match, but it looks like we've got a little indication. It's not confirmed, but we've got a little indication. PW Insider reported, as we noted several days ago, there was concern that Kevin Owens tweaked his knee at a live event over the weekend. We are told that currently Owens is slated for this Friday SmackDown taping, so tonight, and all of the TV tapings leading into Survivor Series, so next Monday and next Friday. Wrestling Observer Newsletter has updated that and has said they've been told he was at the Performance Center doing rehab this week, and he was not moving well. There's no indication one way or another if he'll be ready for the pay-per-view. It should be premium live event. Come on, Dave.
Yeah, Dave.
That will likely be made clear on SmackDown. So tonight, when the reveal of the fifth man was scheduled to take place. So the belief is, if he's good enough to go next Saturday, he'll be on the show, and if not, someone else will be added.
I think the nice thing about a War Games match is that you don't necessarily need to have Kev out there for the whole time.
Yeah.
If he is well enough to go, obviously if he's not, then just give it a miss, Kev.
Yeah.
There's plenty of others that you can call upon. I was thinking on this, and actually I'll save that for our next video.
Check it
what
out.
we call a hook and a tease in the radio business. But I think if Kev's well enough, I think Kev's a perfect fit for this match. But if he's not, I'm gutted, because it's a nice story that you can tell with Kev. And also frustrated for him because he hasn't been on telly for a bit, and he returned to in-ring action over the weekend and did his knee in. The timing of it's
bad timing. I would have liked to have seen him in the match. I feel like he'd have a really good dynamic with his teammates and Brawling Brutes and Drew, while also having that another chance to go up against Roman. We saw it at the Rumble last year in 2021. I'd like to see them, mix it up in the ring a wee bit, and having that sort of reunion, him and Sammy. The story would write itself having him in there. I will be gutted if he's not involved.
It
That was my
itself,
pick. It really does.
as Ross would say. It writes itself.
But that is all the time we have for the first news video of today. We will be back at some point throughout the day. Stay tuned at cultaholic.com for all the wrestling news, as you would say, Tom. Have you got anything you'd like to plug? Any interviews?
You are covered in a very fine fuzz.
Thank you for joining us. We will see you later.